Okay, so there's not much here. This is kind of more uh, just kind of reading forward some additional assumptions. This is where we left off from the previous video. Like I said, the first 5 pages is kind of theory. Marginal utility and kind of onwards, that's when the chapter really starts with the, the utility function, the derivatives, marginal utility, all of that. So I just want to start that in the next video. I don't want to start that in this video. But let's kind of see what they say here. So throughout the book, we will use utility functions to represent preferences over a wide variety of alternatives. Preferences over different job options, preferences over educational choices, and many other cases. In this chapter, however, we will focus on preferences over commodity bundles, that is, baskets of goods. Each basket has a certain quantity of the different goods, apples, bananas, oranges, etc. If consumer has access to n different types of goods, we can represent a basket by Q equals. So that's the total quantity. Its Q is a function. I know that can be confusing, but I think the addition of all quantities is just the quantity of each one. Where Qi is the quantity of good I in the basket. In real life, the number n of different goods available might be extremely large. Think about how many products are available for sale on Amazon. To simplify our analysis, we will focus on baskets with only two goods, Q equals Q1 and Q2. That's fine. It does kind of make me a little bit confused. I didn't think about it before I started the video, but usually we say, Y equals utility of Q1, comma, Q2, or just U equals utility of, I can't help but do this. It just goes way outside of things, but I'm just kind of expressing my thoughts. Kind of, I write these things and they are correct, but it's like, which way do they usually say it? This is the best way. Utility, yes, utility equals a function of Q1, comma, Q2. I'm just saying whenever they say that quantity equals Q1, comma, Q2, all of these are familiar to me, but the way they write it in this paragraph just kind of confuses me. So it just kind of, I didn't stop to think about it till right now. Their book, what they're writing is not wrong. It's just typically we're talking about the utility as a function of quantity 1 and quantity 2, but Q equals Q1, comma, Q2. That I find more confusing there. But anyways, never mind. So this will allow us to focus on how the consumer is willing to trade off one good for another. Once we understand this basic trade-off, it is easier to apply the same logic to multiple goods. Another way to think about our simplification is that we are applying the that thing has been used, the Cerritus, I'm going to slaughter that. Ceteris paribus, that's just kind of a little, some history has no meaning there. Yeah, so et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, doesn't matter. So moreover, we assume Q1 and Q2 are goods. The individual actually likes consuming these products or services. A basket with more of Q1 and Q2 is better than a basket with less Q1 and Q2. We are not talking about bad things such as Q1 being air pollution. That's blah, blah, blah. That doesn't matter right there. In this chapter, we continue to focus on perfectly competitive markets. So later in the book, we don't know what it means now, but a big part of the book is a monopoly and duopoly and things. When it comes to monopoly, that's a completely different chapter. Then we're not talking about perfect competition, but perfect competition just means it doesn't literally have to be infinitely many companies selling the same product, but we have that price taker means we cannot choose the price. That's from before. And perfectly competitive markets, that's going to be all of chapter 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, so we're in chapter 4. But in this chapter, we continue to focus on perfectly competitive markets. Hence, when deciding how much of good 1 and good 2 to purchase, the consumer will observe the prevailing price of these goods in the market. The consumer has no influence over these prices. We will also assume that consumer is endowed with a certain income to purchase the goods. So they're just kind of laying the field for a mathematical study here. This keeping up with the Joneses, that's just a silly little thing. It means nothing. It literally means uh, two people in two houses observing their neighbor and who has more stuff, who has the better car. But keeping up with the Joneses is another way of saying competition, but not necessarily competition at work, or it's like a specific competition of building as much, uh, consuming as much stuff as you can possibly get is basically what keeping up with the Joneses means, I think. So they do that. Okay, so this video is relatively short. I just want to prepare a little bit more before 4.1.2, but the math in the chapter really begins here with marginal utility. So we talk about this in the next video.